Hey folks, late last week I was watching cartoons with my kids. We were watching a show called the Wild Kratts. It's a cartoon about these two brothers who have this amazing technology at their disposal, and they explore the animal world, the animal kingdom, while at the same time thwarting the efforts of poachers and people who are trying to profit off of animals. It's a good show. Anyway, we were watching this show. In this particular episode, it was about an animal called a pangolin. Now, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. A pangolin is this weird-looking creature with scales on its back and a long tail. And some pangolins, their tail is actually, they can actually use it to hook trees and to grab things and to hold on to things. And they have a really, really long tongue like an anteater. But when they're attacked, they roll up in a ball like an armadillo. They're an amazing animal. The reason I'm doing the video on the Wild Kratts episode that I watched with my children was because of something that one of the brothers said at the end. He said, these animals are endangered because of humans. Well, it seems to be so often the case, but it wasn't a matter of territory. It was a matter that humans are consuming them. In certain places, they're hunted for food. Their scales are seen to have a medicinal value, which is completely unproven by medical science, according to the Wild Kratts. And so they're hunted, and their scales are used, they're ground up and sold. They said that if humans were to change their behavior towards the pangolins, they would be fine. They would be safe. They would come back. Something you will hear from time to time in the Christian world is that there's nothing we can do about saving the planet. There's nothing we can do to save the environment. When the end comes, it's all going to burn anyway. It's all going to be destroyed. So there's no reason for us to put our energy into trying to fix things. There's no reason to put our energy into trying to help restore the health of the climate or the environment. We don't have to worry about that. We're called here to be stewards. It's here for us to use. These aren't uncommon Christian ideas. But as I thought about that Wild Kratts video, and I thought about that kind of ideal, I thought, well, what if then, instead of trying to convince the Christian church in all of its denominations to become partners in helping reduce climate change, to help improve our environment, to help restore the health of our planet, instead of asking that, what if we simply asked our brothers and sisters to follow Jesus? And I know what you're going to say. They already follow Jesus. Yes, we've got the whole make disciples. We've got that down. We got the love God thing down. Many of us understand the importance of loving our neighbors, and we do it in our fashion. But Jesus' life also provides us an example that we're supposed to follow. I mean, it's not just his words. It's not just his commands that we're supposed to follow. We're to follow him. In his life, how he lived gives us a pathway forward. Jesus didn't have much. He didn't use much. I mean, there's parts of the gospel where you wonder if this is a homeless guy. I have no place to lay my head, he says. Now, we know he has family, and of course he'd have a place to go, but does he own anything for himself? Jesus lives the life of a minimalist. And I know a minimalist can have some negative connotations, but Jesus lives a life of owning, of possessing very little, at least as far as we're told. This wasn't a man who lived in opulence. The Son of God, King of Kings, Prince of Peace, did not live a life of luxury. Now, as I said in the video the other day, yes, he enjoyed those things from time to time, but he didn't surround himself with them. He didn't focus on grabbing them. So what if we chose to follow Christ by consuming less? What if we chose to follow Christ by throwing less away, by fixing things instead of replacing them, by buying things that are used instead of brand new, by renting tools that we're only going to use once every 6 months instead of buying something that we need for 5 minutes at a time? This is something that I'm guilty of. What if we chose to shed the luxuries of our life, to shed the things that we have come to possess, and not replace them? What if we chose to walk through our life here on earth in a way that is reminiscent to the way that Jesus walked through his life? We didn't have as many possessions. We didn't have as many comforts. What if we chose to be a little more minimalistic? What if we chose to give up some of those trained and established consumeristic habits that we've come to base our lives on? Changing the world, helping the environment, helping to reduce climate change. Changing the world, having a positive impact on climate change. Trying to help restore a healthy environment. These don't have to be the purpose of our life. These things can happen as the result of changing the way we live to look more like the way Jesus may have lived. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that we'll, in time, intentionally let go of some of the creature comforts we experience here in this world, the things that we have grown accustomed to, that we can live more frugally, that we can be less consumeristic, and that those changes would have a big positive impact on our planet, for our children, for our grandchildren, and for our great-grandchildren. Amen.